Hi, and welcome to the Code Club. In this video, I'm going to talk you through the first couple of sessions that you'll be having in this Code Club. So we're going to learn to code, and we'll talk about why that's important a little bit. Why is coding useful to me? Well, coding is an area that's growing. It's a skill that lots and lots of people need now. And I actually had an email this morning that gave me a little bit of information about some research that's been done into this. And what they found in America is that the average person who is a computer scientist who can program, the average starting wage for those people is $54,000 a year. Now, that is the second highest average starting wage in America, and the only people above it are engineers. And people think that computer programmers are actually going to overtake engineers within the next couple of years as the people who have the highest starting wage. Now, that sounds pretty good to me. Learning to code, maybe going to university to learn a little bit more, and then starting off at 19 or 20 years old on a wage like that. That would be fantastic. And if you code for around about 10 years, people who've been doing this a while, the average wage is actually £79,000 per year in the UK. That is a really good wage. And even better than that, people can't actually get lots of good programmers because there aren't many people who are trained in this area. So if you learn to do this and you get really good at this, when you start applying for jobs, you're not going to have a great deal of competition to get those really, really good jobs. Now, I know at the moment you're only in year 7 and you might not really be thinking too much about jobs and what you want to do in the future, but now is the time for you to start learning this stuff. And it's really interesting as well, and it's really good fun, as we'll talk about. So that brings me on to the second point on the slide. What is it like? So what's it like to be a programmer? Well, programming, to me, is a very creative process. I actually write songs, and I like creating art as well. And I find programming to be very similar to those things. So when I'm coding, I'm creating something from scratch. I've had an idea in my head, and I now get to make that happen. So I had a blank canvas, and all of a sudden I've got a program that actually does something and people can use. So I find that very rewarding, and it's a really good thing to do. It's also a little bit frustrating. I'll be honest with you. When you first start coding, it's difficult. You have to learn. It's a bit like learning a new language. You have to know what things mean, and you have to be able to put them together. And sometimes you'll write some code and you'll actually find that it doesn't work first time. That's normal when you're first starting to program, because you've got to make those mistakes and then go back and try it again and do something different. And eventually you work out how to do it. And once you've done it once, you find it's easier the next time you come to do it. It's like anything. The more practice and experience you get at doing it, the quicker you can do it. And programming, that curve is quite quick. You'll very quickly build up that knowledge and build up that experience, make those mistakes, solve them, try them again in different programs. And you'll find that you build up that coding knowledge really quite quickly to be able to help solve those problems. And once you've got it, and once you understand how to code, it's amazing how quickly you can start producing some really advanced programs. And it's a great feeling when you manage to produce them as well. There are different ways of coding. I'm not going to go through them all in this video with you. The ones that you will come across quite quickly are visual ways of programming, using blocks and dragging them around. That's what we're going to be starting with over the first couple of sessions. And you can also write programming code using text. And they're both exactly the same. It's just a different way of giving a computer an instruction. And that's what you're doing when you're writing code. You're writing a set of instructions that your computer is going to follow, or the computer of the person who's using your program is going to follow. So your instructions need to be really clear so that the computer can follow them correctly. So that's what coding is, that's what it's like. And this particular course, the activities that you're going to do, will help you to get a basic understanding of how coding works and some of the logic behind it. Some of the activities are actually quite easy to start off with, and you'll find that they get harder as you go through them. And as you do work through them, you're going to be building up that knowledge of coding that'll help you when you come to create your own programs from a blank canvas. Right, this is what you'll do. We're going to use a program called Tynker, Tynker.com. And when you go to that website, you can sign in as a student, just following these instructions, with your school Google account. So you should already know your login details for your school Google account. You're just going to pop those in, and once you get in there, you'll be able to use Tynker. The activities are all on these slides which you'll be given. And if we start with these ones, can't get my words out. These are the starter activities, and there are 4 of them. So these are the easiest ones. I suggest you do at least 2 of these before you start some of the more difficult ones. And on the next slide, there are quite a few intermediate activities. We're getting a little bit harder now. The third one, there are some advanced. This is where you really start to get challenged and you have to do quite a lot of thinking. So when you click on one of these activities, it will give you some instructions to help you get started. So you're not having to guess how to code. It's going to tell you how to do some bits of it, and then you will work out the rest, and you'll have a go at fitting those blocks together to make the program do what it's asking you to do. I don't need to give you any information about these. When you click on any of these, it'll be quite obvious to you how to approach that program and what you need to do. So best of luck with it. I hope you enjoy them. I hope you learn something. Coding is really good fun. And like I say, once you get the hang of this, we'll be able to move you on to some more advanced things and get you programming some more complex things.